Hello, welcome to Studio Nicole. I'm Nicole and I'm so glad that you're here. I'm voiceovering again today because I didn't realize that my microphone wasn't fixed. I thought I had it sorted out and I obviously did not. So we are still here in voiceover land. I spent the first part of this video talking about the 100-day project, which starts today, February 22nd, and I talk a little bit about some of the projects that I've done in the past. In past years, I have done projects like 100 days of hand lettering or 100 days of faces. Both options help me to perfect a skill that I haven't necessarily, that I didn't feel very confident about. So I'm sharing my 2022 100 Days of Faces journal here, and I just flip through a few of the pictures. I do want to clarify that there are a lot of bad faces in this journal. Early on in the process, I was definitely winging it to a degree and kind of practicing different techniques and different strategies. I kept falling back on sort of the wrong things that I had been doing for a long time. And it wasn't until I got farther along in the process that I started to change those bad habits and create like better compositions. And so this is an example of how the 100-day project really works, in that, you start out with something that you're maybe not that great at. And as you go through the process, experimenting and practicing and trying different things, you gain confidence and you gain just like muscle memory almost. I definitely got better with some of these faces over time. This one on the screen is from a photo book. I used a reference of celebrities to draw a few of these. Some of them turned out really good. That one was pretty good. That was Coffee Dyed and Stabilo. This is probably one of my favorite faces I've ever done, and that also came out of the big book of celebrities. So different strategies, different techniques. Over the course of 100 days, I certainly would say that my process got better as I went along. I don't have a journal for 100 days of hand lettering because I didn't keep all of those pieces together in a journal, although I did record them. I did take a picture of each day, and so I have digital copies of all of those. And I can share the link to my Pinterest board if you want to see that 100-day project. I also have done 100-day projects where I was focusing more on just being creative every day. It was about consistency and not necessarily about developing a skill. So I've also done 100 days of gratitude journaling, for example. And I think I have that journal here to share with you on screen in just a few minutes, where I kind of flip through a few of the pages in that journal. And that was really an exploration in just trying all these different techniques. I really had a lot of freedom because I wasn't too worried about the outcome on any given page. I really just wanted to express my gratitude in a consistent way. And so this one was from, I want to say 2021. Yep, 2021, the 100-day project. I started that year on January 31st. And each page is just a reflection of something in my life that I am grateful for. And so that was a really freeing project in a way, because I wasn't worried at all about the outcome. It gave me complete freedom to experiment and explore and express my gratitude, which was, sort of the whole point. And it allowed me to develop some new techniques that I maybe wasn't using consistently before. I kind of like to go back to this journal occasionally because it really does have a lot of techniques in it that I don't use very often, and so it's a great inspiration. For this year, I decided to do 100 days of art journaling techniques because I think that that is a good strategy to help me get back into that experimenting and exploring. So I printed out this list, and each page, there's 5 pages, so the prompts are all divided up into 5 categories. This first one was background techniques. The second one is, I'd have to look at it to tell you. I have them out of order, but okay, background techniques is what I'm sharing on the screen here, and I have 20 prompts that I want to go through. But I also have some alternatives on the right hand side in case I don't have the right materials, or if maybe I'm just not feeling a particular technique that day. I have an alternative that I can kind of like, you know, I've got some options here. Rigidity and you know, prescription really don't work for me as a creative strategy, so I wanted to give myself a lot of flexibility. Also, for anyone who's following along, if you don't like any of these prompts, or if you don't have the materials, then you also can kind of, you know, be a little bit flexible and maybe choose something from the alternatives list instead of from the prescribed list of 20 options. So I have background techniques, and then I have mixed media. Oh no, this one's mark making. Sorry, mark making techniques, and then mixed media and layering techniques. And then I've also got text and captioning techniques. And the last one is focal images. And so with these 100 prompts, 20 in each category, if I use one from each page all together on an art journal page, that should kind of create a whole page, right, from the bottom up. We can do background, and then mark making, and then mixed media layering, and then text and captioning, and then a focal image. So 5 prompts will make one page. That's the way I'm thinking of it. And at the end of the process, I should have 20 completed pages. That's the way I'm envisioning this project. So we'll see how that works out. Hopefully that'll work. I probably won't do this one day at a time. I mean, I probably won't do like every single day for 100 days because the pressure of that is a little challenging, honestly. And I'm not super creative, and I don't work well when I feel the pressure to create at a certain rate or to do a certain thing on a certain day. And so I am giving myself the grace and flexibility to do 100 days of art journaling techniques, but they might be spread across a larger amount of time than just 100 days. I really don't, I was talking about this sort of thing when I was recording, but obviously my hand gestures do not match up with exactly what I'm saying in this voiceover. So I'm sorry that there's so much voiceover of me just pointing at the prompts and talking. I think in a minute I'm going to start talking about this journal that I've chosen to use, and I'm kind of excited to use it. And I'm hoping that it will, you know, I'll be able to capture all of the art journaling prompts in this one journal together to create a page. I will post these, I think they're PDFs right now, but I was thinking about turning them into editable documents and then linking each video to the prompt where I work on that prompt, so that you can download it as a PDF and use the list if you like, or you can access it digitally and click on all of the links in order to see each video as I go through the process. So I'll probably provide that both in PDF and maybe Google Doc form. So this is the journal that I'm using this year for the 100-day project. It's hard to see, but there's some stamping on the inside cover here, and I've had this journal for 25 years. The date on it is 2001, and the messaging on the inside, it says, "Congratulations, good luck in whatever you decide to do. I am proud of you. Best wishes." Best wishes, right? Best wishes. And this was given to me when I graduated from college in 2001. It was given to me by my former elementary school teacher, my 3rd grade teacher. And I do have her name covered up in the video just because, you know, I don't want to give away somebody else's information. I don't want to share that if I don't have consent. But I've had this handmade journal, and I don't know if she made it by hand or if she bought it at like a gift shop or something somewhere and gave it to me, but it doesn't have any kind of manufacturing labels or marks on it, so I suspect that it is handmade. It's very nice. The paper is, it's very nice heavy paper, bound beautifully into this journal, and I'm really excited to use it for this project. I think that it's going to be perfect. I haven't used it yet, and so now I have a great opportunity to kind of get in there and put it to use and make some memories in this journal. So here I'm prepping the page just by tucking something underneath it, and the first prompt on the background techniques page is acrylic wash layers. And so I decide to, I do pause the video here while I gather some supplies. I'm using a variety of different acrylics. I have some golden high fluid or high flow fluids, and I have a Craft Smart orange paint and a Liquitex fluorescent paint. I've seen a lot of artwork lately come across my Pinterest board and my Instagram feed with these bright pinks and oranges, and I'm really just loving those colors together. So I am taking that as inspiration for my first page for day 1 of the 100-day project, where I demonstrate an acrylic wash background. A wash is when you're not using the paints at full strength, you are watering them down and washing them across the page, and it allows you to get a great variety of depth in color, because you can build up layers and you can layer different colors over top of one another. So you could either get a really saturated color in one color by building continuous layers of the same color over and over again, or you can shift by, you know, layering different colors over top of one another. So I'm using a palette here, and I am just giving myself the tiniest little bit of paint in each well, and you can't really see this part on the video, but if I try to stop and cut it, the voiceover is not going to match up, and I don't want to spend that much time editing today. I have a lot of cooking to do. It's Sunday, and I do all my cooking on Sunday. So we're just going to talk through this video, and you can always, you know, speed this up or put it on like 1.5 or 1.75 or even 2 times speed if you like. If this is too much talking and too much downtime, that is certainly what I do when I watch videos. I always speed them up. Same with audiobooks. So in case you didn't know that that was an option, that is definitely an option. I splatter some yellow paint everywhere and have to spend a minute cleaning up. But then I've got my color palette and I'm ready to go. I think I have a yellow, 2 oranges, and a light pink and a dark magenta. And in order to do a wash, you have to water the paints down. So I am going in with my paintbrush into my water, and then I'm just dabbing that water down into the paint to thin it out. So you can see that's, instead of it being concentrated paint, it is now very watered down paint in the well of the palette there. And when I first start putting this down on the page, I'm really not thrilled with the outcome. I thought about using gesso ahead of time because it does seal the page, and I was worried that these paints are going to just soak right in. And when you have like a wet paint, like a wash or a watered down paint, it's more likely to just soak into the page, because this is not obviously watercolor paper that I'm working on. But I also know that gesso will make the paint less vivid and vibrant, and I didn't want that. I really wanted to try and go for some vibrant colors, so I just am risking it. I just wanted to see what would happen. This is an experiment, and I don't have any particular outcome in mind, so I'm just going in with another color. I went from yellow down to the pink, I'm definitely happier with the pink. And I think I switched to a larger paintbrush as well. If I haven't yet, I do in a minute. The bigger paintbrush is a much better fit for this project, actually. So now I'm using the Craft Smart paint. This was like the Walmart or Michael's brand, and you do have to mix it more with water in order to get the wash. With the golden high flow acrylics, they mix really easily, but these Craft Smart paints are just kind of gloopier. That's probably not a real word. They're heavier and thicker, and in order to get them watered down, you really do have to mix a lot in order to get the paint distributed through the water. So I have done that, and then I've added some layers of orange on the page. I like that the orange fades right into the yellow here, and you almost can't tell like where one ends and one picks up. I like that ombre effect. Now this magenta was also a high flow acrylic, and the water really it really watered down nicely, and I love the pop of color on this page. So I probably add more of this than I should. Kind of as I was going, I was just really enjoying this process of layering these colors on top of each other and seeing how they interacted. And that is part of what this process is about. It's not just about trying this particular method, but it really is just it's a play. It's experimenting. You don't know what you're going for, so you just wait to see what happens and see what you like. I learned that the fluorescent paints that I was using, I really needed a lot more paint in order to get a watered down consistency here. So that was something, that I had not tried before. I've never tried to water these paints down, and now I know that. And that's kind of the spirit of what I'm doing here is really, I have been doing mixed media and art journaling almost 7 years now, and I have learned a lot, and there are a lot of things that I do know, but that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of room for me to continue to learn and grow. So I'm just adding the fluorescent orange on in different places, and you can see the colors are starting to come together here. The whole page is covered at this point. I think I go back in, I'm pretty sure I go back in with more of that magenta and more of that pink. I wanted to use up, if not all, at least most of the paint that I had in my palette there to just continue to layer these washes across one another. I like it at this stage. I'm looking at it on the screen and I'm thinking that it really is very orangey. But gosh, I can't resist that magenta. It is just gorgeous, and I love how it just brightens up the whole page. Orange and pink are not colors that I typically put together. That is just not a color palette that I reach for very often, but I am finding that I absolutely love it. I was so drawn to it in the on Pinterest, where I keep pinning these compositions with these colors, and then the algorithm learns that I like these color palettes, and so it just gives me more and more examples. And yeah, I'm just sold on this color palette. I love it. Although I do think that I maybe went in with too much pink here and I lost some of the orange. So I might, in a future layer on this page, I might try to go back in with some white paint and then kind of like reintroduce the orange over top of a white layer, like not the whole page obviously with white, but maybe in some areas. And that way I can bring some of the orange kind of back out, because I feel like I maybe have lost a little bit of it. But I do love how this is turning out at this point. I think I paused to dry it here, and my page does get kind of wonky and it's warped a little bit, but again, that is part of the process. When you're using wet medium on paper that's not really meant for water, that is one of the outcomes that you'll get. So I wasn't really surprised with the warped page. So here we go. Here's our final product, and I'm going to pull my little, I don't know what to call that, the extra page that I was protecting the page behind it. It was really just a calendar page. So here's what I've got. This is the acrylic wash. This is the outcome of day 1 of my art journaling techniques, acrylic wash layers. So if you want to follow along with me in this 100-day project, I will post the links to my list of techniques so that you can save it digitally or print it out. I'll also find a way to link the videos to each prompt in. I don't know if I'll do that all at once, or maybe at the end of every week I'll post the list or something. I'm not sure exactly how I'll do that, but if you subscribe to my channel, you certainly will be able to see all of the videos in order. I'll post them all in a playlist so that you can access them, and they won't be this long either. I plan on each one being about 5 or 10 minutes long, so that I still will have some time to work on other projects in addition to this 100-day project, because I still have a lot of ideas. So thanks so much for being here with me today, folks, and I will see you in the next video.